this is Rosemary Berea at rosemaryberea.com. Most of you are already my friends, but if you're not, I will briefly introduce myself. I'm a holistic healer and guide. I do tarot, yoga, and Reiki. I do that in Kansas City through workshops, one-on-one, things like that, as well as online through Zoom and an online course called Self-Care Like a Queen. So I've recorded this a few times. I've already cried, so let me try to explain what's going on in my life first, and show you that my theme card for the month, as well as do our mind, body, and spirit reading for the new cycle. So first of all, my card is the star for February, and my friend actually that I meet with once a month drew this for me as well for January, and I'm like, oh, that's great. You know, I'm in a healing. I'm a healer. I do healing work with people. February is Aquarius, you know, and this is the star. The star is the card for the Aquarius. So I'm like, this is great. I just thought I was in alignment with like the collective or something like that. But then I went to the doctor and I realized it's been 3 years, but all this weird stuff kept happening to me, and I've just been dragging so badly. I have been exhausted beyond anything, and my whole life I've been fairly high energy. I've been a very active person, physically, mentally, especially mentally. I'm always thinking and always acting on those thoughts and ideas. I'm not one to just sit still. But I'm going to have to learn to be one who sits still a little more now. So anyway, my joints were like really swollen and like ridiculously so, and I was so stiff when I woke up in the morning. I'm like, oh, I'm in my 30s now. I probably have arthritis like my parents both do. So I decided to get that checked out and just to have a talk with the doctor. You know, as I commit more to my self-care, something that tends to struggle is not my mental, not my body. It's like those really practical things. So you'll see her like with her foot on the ground, you know, the earthy stuff, like things like going to the doctor. Like, I will do such deep spiritual work and such studying and all this, but then I'll do things like forget to go to the doctor or not get a haircut for a while, you know, things like that. And that stuff is self-care too, going to the dentist, like things like that. I'm obsessed with my teeth, so I do go to the dentist regularly, but yeah, the doctor, I'm like, I didn't even like do it on purpose. I just like, oh, I haven't been to the doctor in like over 3 years, and even then, I think it was mostly just going to the doctor because I was pregnant or something like that. My kid's 2 now, so that's probably the last time I went to the doctor, which isn't good. So I went, and I won't go into every symptom. I don't want to sound like a drug commercial here, but there's been other things, face going numb. I'm like, oh, well, my face is numb, no big deal. Things like my throat just swelling up and feeling really tight. You know, when you're a mom, and this is not a good excuse at all, when you're a mom, you kind of blow things off. Like, a lot of us do anyway, because we're so focused on taking care of our kid. And then when you work with others too, you kind of, this is not a good excuse at all, but you kind of want to focus on that, especially in this kind of work. You want to focus on the higher stuff, you know, the higher. And what does that even mean? That's another issue right there. Kind of like the spiritual stuff, the meaty stuff. You don't want to focus on, like, remember to go to the doctor, everyone, you know. But anyway, I went to the doctor and I found out that I actually do have an autoimmune problem. Need to find out what exactly I have. I have one diagnosis, I might have more. So my body is literally attacking itself, and so that exhaustion I'm feeling, that being drugged down, all the weird other things, and I want to get into all of them. It's not temporary. It's not going to go away when my kids start sleeping through the night like I thought. So it's actually a complete lifestyle change that I have to make, and that's I think I'm gonna cry again. But it's kind of a wake up call for someone who's so busy and so active and has so many ideas and so much they want to bring into the world, in their little world. So that I want to bring so much to my little family and so many things to you who are my friends and things like that. Knowing that I will literally have to slow that down because I can't keep up is shocking. And so the star card, it's not just about being in alignment with the cosmos and all that. It's literally about my healing myself in a real way. And by doing that, I'm entering. It's very spiritual too. It's a spiritual journey that I have to go on to realize that I'm not in control of everything, and I really will just have to pare down. I also started reading this book, and I think this is perfect. It's called Essentialism. So it's about focusing, like narrowing in on what you should be focusing on rather than focusing on a lot of things. And that is very hard for me. I tend to be someone who has a lot of ideas and different. I mean, I've gone to art school, I have a degree in public health, I teach yoga, Reiki, like blah, blah, blah. My list of hobbies turned into projects is like humongous, right? I've done all sorts of things. So reading this book, Essentialism, is kind of like a blow to my ego. I'm like, oh man, what? Not in me, even my ego, just like it's a fear. Like, what will happen to me if I don't focus on everything that comes to my mind? Like, so that kind of mental thing of like, I need to focus in. I have a family, I have a job, I have my business, my work with you, and that's, what I want to make primary in my life. I don't want to have that job anymore eventually. So I need to figure out what it is to focus on. And now knowing that my body is literally attacking itself, knowing that I cannot keep up with a million different things is really sad to me, because I always have been able to do a lot at once, and I always have been able to do keep my word to myself and to others. And so it's not easy. So as we do this reading today, I know I'm not the only one feeling like that. And I know that I'm not the only one having limitations and things like that. And so I'm doing this mind, body, spirit reading today. And I'm using the Little Sage Oracle deck. These are backs. And that my teacher, Jessie Hayes, gave me. She did this program called Emerge, and it completely changed my life. It's actually gave me that little last push to do what I'm doing now as living. I'm hoping to do as living eventually. So when I think of the star and I think of healing on that very real level, I think of her, and I think of this deck, and that's like such a nurturing deck for me. My Rider Waite, it was always going to be like my first tarot deck, but this deck represents so much healing power for me, and on that very soft level, that very gentle level, and that's what I'm needing in my life, and I'm getting that the collective can use that too, all of you guys. So the first card I had pulled was a head versus heart. That's for our mind. It is uniting that very practical, logical part of our brains, the one that's organized enough to take ourselves to the doctor, with that heart, emotional, intuitive feeling like, I want to do this, this, and this. The heart will tell us one thing and the mind might tell us something completely different. But what happens when we unite these things? What happens when we listen to our feelings, When we listen to all those crazy thoughts and we make sense of them with our mind and create strategy with them. So the heart gives us those beautiful ideas. It brings us to tears. It causes us laughter. It gives us meaning, But the mind comes in and tells us what to focus on. It articulates our beautiful vision and makes it a reality. So the challenge this month for me is my heart is always going to be so full of ideas, of ways to be of service, of ways to be creative. That's just who I am. And there's no reason for me to kill that part of myself. That part is a gift. I'm very aware of that. But my mind is telling me, okay, well, you can't do everything. You literally cannot do everything. My goal right now is to rest, and to keep my promises. And so this video happens to be one of those things I promised myself I would do until March at least, to see if it made sense for me to do it. But do I need to offer every little thing? I don't know, So the mind can articulate our heart. The mind can keep our heart safe. Our head can keep our heart in order, but also it can actually express our heart by articulating it and making it real. So our heart just doesn't have floods of ideas. Our heart is actually kept in alignment with our head. So we have this beautiful feeling, we think it, and then we do it. It's like that flow, feedback, So, and then for our body, patience. Oh, I'm feeling this right now. I've been so impatient with my body and so I'll be honest with you, rough on her in my life. It's a whole nother story, but I've been really rough on my body in many, many ways. I don't even know where to start with that, but it's carried on. And though I found a lot of gentleness and a lot of intuitive movement with my body lately in the last few years, there's still this push. My yoga practice, like I mentioned, has shifted because my body cannot keep up the way it used to. Literally, my joints are swollen and painful and all that. And I'm weaker than I used to be. Not as weak as in my spirit, but weak as in my body is. So I have lacked patience, but our body needs patience. Our body needs time to check in with our heart, to check in what would be good for our body at that moment. So a lot of us are still trying to get in shape because it's the new year, and that means you need to get in shape and join a gym and all that. And we want to see results right away. But what if we check those results that we want with a clear vision of what our heart actually wants? So being more gentle with yourself this month. You can love yourself and want to challenge your body to grow in a lot of ways, but you can still approach it with gentleness. And also, I'm getting gratitude. So when you see an impatient kid, you see a lot of times a really ungrateful kid. They're not paying attention to everything else they have. They want the thing they really, really want. They don't want to appreciate what they already have. So approaching things with gratitude and patience. And then for spirit, I got soulmates. And for this, I'm not getting soulmates as in go find a soulmate, like an actual person. I'm finding it's becoming soulmates with yourself, uniting your mind and your spirit, having them constantly feedback with each other, articulating each other, feeding each other. Your mind should never take over and make make your heart its slave, but your heart should never run free without being articulated with your mind and your beautiful brain. So it's causing that feedback loop, mind, body, and spirit. So that's our reading. I don't want this to drop again, so I'm going to cut this off. But I will link the book I'm reading below and everything else I've been talking about. If you want to join my group, I'm going to link that below. Love to all of you, and healing energy to all of you.